Hi everyone. I don't normally talk about numbers or focus on numbers, but we did just reach 60,000 subscribers on this channel, which is pretty lovely. So I just wanted to say thank you. It's also just over 6 years since I started making videos on this channel too. So I thought I would do something slightly different, and I took to Instagram and I said, what would you like me to do? How shall we celebrate this? And there were quite a few different suggestions, mostly bookshelf tours, which I have done before. And they're not videos that I particularly love myself, so it wasn't something I wanted to do. And someone said, can you react to previous haul videos? And I've seen some people do that before and I think it's fun, but I thought let's extend that. let's go bigger. So today I would like to go through all of the book hauls from my first year on BookTube. I started in October 2014. So we're going to go from October 2014 to September 2015. And we're going to look, I'm not going to put all of the videos on here because that would take forever, but I am going to tally. I'm going to go through those videos. I'll insert some clips as we go, looking at how many books I hauled each month, how many I have read, excuse me, and how many I have not read, and call myself out on that. And then depending on how many books are unread, we can take that into some reading vlogs, and I can read essentially the oldest books on my TBR. There are some books on my shelves that are pre-BookTube, but I don't have records of when I bought them. I don't keep records. BookTube is my record. So for recording purposes, these are the oldest books on my TBR, or at least the ones that count. If you would like to pause this video and make a guess in the comment section down below as to how many books you think I hauled in my first year on BookTube and how many of those I have not yet read, please do be my guest and let's go on this journey together. I've got my laptop here. Let's dive in. Let's see what I was buying. Let's see what I was reading. My first ever video was a haul. So this is my October 2014 book haul. My first ever video. My God, look how much hair I've got. I used to love that jumper. I wore it until it completely fell apart. I loved it. Okay, most of this is out of focus. Brilliant. Okay, let's look at the description box down below. In this video, I hauled 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 books, and I have read all of them. I have read all of them. Well, that's an excellent start, isn't it? I have a feeling that that's not going to be the case for all of the other videos that we need to get to. All right, November book haul. It looks like I'm filming in the middle of the night, and apparently I'm singing. It looks like I'm going to do a very serious monologue in a play that nobody's going to come and see. Okay, so in this video, I haul 10 books and I haven't read one of them. I'll tell you what these books are afterwards because I'm going to pull them off my shelves and then we can talk about the blurbs. So I'll not say what they are right now, but I didn't read one of them. 1 out of 10. Okay, December 2014. Again, it's the middle of the night. Okay, so in December, I hauled 9 books and I haven't read 2 of them, though looking at what those are, I am not sure where they are because obviously we moved at the beginning of last year and I don't remember unpacking those books, so I'm gonna have to go on a hunt for those. Okay, January 20, ooh, sound, that's not helpful. January 2015. Oh my goodness, my cup matches my jumper. I mean, that's a choice. Okay, January 2015, I hauled 18 books and I haven't read 2 of them. Oh, February, look at this dress. This is very summery. I feel like I've also matched my mug to my outfit here and possibly my lipstick too. I don't make as much effort these days, I apologise. Oh, and I have matched my nail varnish to the mug as well. That is dedication. Okay, so in February 2015, I hauled 16 books and haven't read 3 of them. In March, I hauled 12 and haven't read 4. Oh dear, April has a 2-part book haul. But I am very, very surprised by that. In those 2 parts, I hauled 32 books and I have read all of them. So that's quite good. All right, okay, let's move on to May. There is also 2 parts to this book haul. Oh, this is also when I started wearing glasses all of the time, looking like a librarian. Okay, in May, I hauled 22 books and I only haven't read one of them. This is going much, much better than I thought it was going to go. In June, oh look, my glasses match my dress. In June, I hauled 10 books and I haven't read one of them. In July, oh, that's a big stack of books right there. We've got much closer to the camera. I think this is when I bought a camera for the first time. Before that, I was filming on my iPhone and I used to have that on. Do you see that washing basket over there? I used to put lots of different boxes on top of that and then place my iPhone on top of that. And because I was using not the front-facing camera, the back-facing camera, I was always just hoping it was still recording because I had no way of knowing. But yeah, here is where I move on to filming with a camera that is not my iPhone. And in that July 2015, I hauled 20 books and I haven't read 2 of them. Moving on to August, this is also another double book haul. Look at my hair up. I like it like that. Oh, my poor hair. Okay, August, I hauled 14 books and I haven't read 3 of them. Look at that paperback version of Michelle Faber's The Book of Strange New Things. It's so beautiful. And finally, September 2015, I hauled 20 books and haven't read 2 of them. So let's do some maths. That means that in that year, I hauled 196 books and 21 of them remain unread. Now, I suppose this is subjective. Some of you may think that's terrible. I'm actually very pleasantly surprised by that and think that's rather good. So let me pull those 21 books off my shelves and then we can talk about them. And I would love to know if you have read them, which ones you think I should get to first. Let's have a chat about them in the comment section down below. While I pull those books off my shelves, this video is very kindly sponsored by Skillshare. So let me pass over to Skillshare talking Jen, who's going to tell you briefly about that. And then I'll come back and speak to you about some books. Hi, join me on the bed for a minute so that we can have a quick chat about Skillshare. Thanks so much to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. They are the company that I have been working with the longest on my time on YouTube, and I think that they're wonderful. They are an online learning community with classes on pretty much anything that you can imagine. They have over 25,000 classes. If you want to learn how to bake, if you want to learn how to look after your houseplants, if you want to learn about calligraphy, you can find classes on whatever you want. 3 classes I wanted to particularly highlight today. They have a writing class by Roxane Gay. I don't think that I really need to say anything more about that, really. Do I? No. We can't go outside as much as we would like to at the moment, so perhaps this class may take your interest. This is still life photography, capturing stories of everyday objects at home, and this is by Sean Dalton. He is talking you through how you might want to take more creative pictures in your everyday environment and see things in a slightly different way. And if you're feeling as though your productivity is a little bit low and you would like to revamp that, you would like to examine your behaviors and how you can make the most out of your time in a fun way, then I'd also recommend Real Productivity: How to Build Habits That Last by Thomas Frank. He is analyzing and tracking, or encouraging you to track your habits so that you can work out the ways in which you work best and therefore best utilize your time to make sure that you are enjoying yourself as well as being productive. Skillshare have given me a link which I've put at the top of the description box down below, and the first 1,000 people to click on that link get a free trial of Skillshare Premium. If you would like to stay on after that point, it's a very affordable platform. It works out at less than $10 a month for premium membership. All of their classes are broken down into really small, manageable chunks, so you can slot it into any part of your day when you happen to have time. There are community parts to the workshops too, so you can share the things that you're creating alongside the workshop if you would like to, or if you would like to keep your work to yourself and it's something you would like to work on privately, you can do that as well. If you would like to share the link with a friend, you can also get them to sign up and you can take classes simultaneously, remotely, and then talk about them. There are so many different possibilities. Head on over to their website to find out more. And thanks again to Skillshare for sponsoring this. Okay, let's go through these books in order. I'm finding this a really interesting exercise because I think we can all understand this. Some books we have on our TBR for a long time and we know they've been there for a long time. But I was surprised that some of these have been there for 6 years. Time warps a little bit. Okay, so I've made some notes. So in October 2014, I had read all of the books that I hauled. In November, there was one book that I hadn't read. And this is one of those ones that I am surprised has been there that long. And this is the Hopkins manuscript by R.C. Sheriff. This I spoke about in a video 2 weeks ago because I was talking about Persephone books and books of theirs that I would like to get to next, and said that this one was one that was on my TBR. This is one of the 2 science fiction books that they publish. They publish forgotten classics mainly written by women, but this one is actually written by a man. And this is about the moon colliding with the earth. And it was first published in 1939. And I've heard such great things about that one. In December 2014, there were 2 books out of the 9 that I hadn't read. But as I mentioned previously, I'm not sure where those are. I don't know, they're 2 classics. It's Jamaica Inn by Daphne du Maurier and Goodbye to Berlin by Christopher Isherwood. I have a feeling I may have lent the Isherwood to somebody. And the Jamaica Inn, I'm really not sure where that one is. I have a bit of a not great relationship with Daphne du Maurier, so maybe that I put it to one side thinking that I may unhaul that, but I don't remember unhauling it. It may still be in a box somewhere because we still do have some boxes in the attic that's not an attic that we haven't unpacked yet, so I'll stumble across it at some point in the future. January 2015, there were 2 books out of 18 that I hadn't read. One of them was a short story collection, and this is Almost Famous Women by Mayhew Bergman. This is about almost famous women, so based on real life people. And I've heard great things about this one as well. She's the author of The Birds of a Lesser Paradise, but for some reason I haven't got to it. And it's got quotes on the back from Lauren Groff. Yep, so this one is one that I need to remember is on my TBR. And then there was a classic that I hadn't read, and this is Anne Bronte's The Tennant of Wildfell Hall. This is one of the vintage Bronte books, which is stunning. The end papers look like this. It's got French flaps. It has browned a little bit on my shelf actually, but apart from that, it's looking absolutely fine. So this says, when a mysterious and beautiful young widow becomes the new tenant at Wildfell Hall, rumours immediately begin to swirl around her. Almost against his will, Gilbert Markham is drawn to the elusive and singular Helen Graham, but even as he falls in love, he finds himself divided from Helen by dark secrets and painful memories from her past life. I love the opening sentence of this. It says, "You must go back with me to the autumn of 1827. That definitely draws you in. Then in February, there were 3 books that I hadn't read, but 2 of them I am discounting. You may say that this is not fair, but they are Metamorphosis by Ovid and After Ovid, which is reiterations of Ovid by more contemporary poets. I was going to say modern day poets, but it's actually from a few decades ago. And I bought that as something to dip in and out of over the years, which I have done. I just haven't read them in their entirety, and I think that that's okay. But the one that I haven't read, and I don't know why it's still sitting on my TBR, is The Drum Tower by Farnoosh Moshiri, and this is a fantasy novel. It says the Drum Tower is the story of a young girl's courageous escape from her divided family and mysterious beginnings, an escape that will take her through the streets of Tehran in man's clothing to the terrifying border with Afghanistan. I know that I read the first chapter of this in a try a chapter tag, but I haven't yet read the rest of the book. And the following month, which brings us to March, there were 3 books that I hadn't read. One of them is Kazuo Ishiguro's The Buried Giant. I bought this when it came out, and then I heard such, I was going to say mixed reviews, mainly negative reviews of it. And I've had definitely a hit or miss relationship with his books in the past. I've loved Remains of the Day and Never Let Me Go. I really didn't care for When We Were Orphans or Nocturnes or The Unconsoled. So I thought I would read this once everyone else's opinions had died down a little bit, which they've definitely done now, because his new book, Clara and the Sun, has just come out, which I will be reading this month in March. So maybe it is a good time to go back to this one when I've read his latest. And the other two was this classic. I think actually classics are something that I tend to put off a little bit. This is The Purple Cloud by M.P. Shiel, and this is a classic apocalyptic novel. The Purple Cloud tells the grandly bleak story of Adam Jeffson, the first man to reach the North Pole and the last man left alive on Earth. A sweet-smelling, deadly cloud of poisonous gas has devastated the world, and as Jeffson travels the stricken globe in search of human life, he slowly succumbs to madness and unleashes fire and destruction on the planet. And the third one I hadn't read, which I bought that month, which is also one I've spoken about recently. This is No One Is Here Except All of Us by Ramona Ausabel. And this is set during the Second World War. It's focused on a Jewish community, but it's using magical realism to talk about their isolation and them viewing their community as almost restarting the world, and that they're the only ones who exist. I've loved the beginning of this one. I've kept it for a rainy day because I love Ramona Ausabel's writing so much. But you can only keep books for so long, really. I mean, A Perfect Rainy Day, is it going to stay there for another 6 years? And is that fair? I don't know. So there's that one. In April 2015, I read all of the books. In May, there was 1 out of 22 I hadn't read, which was a short story collection called Jellyfish by Janice Galloway. This is such a bright cover. The tagline for this is Sex, Love and Parenthood. In this sparkling and powerful new collection, Janice Galloway takes on the assertion, literature is mostly about having sex and not much about having children, but life is the other way round. It's very short. I don't really have any excuse for not having read it. The following month, so in June, there was 1 book out of the 10 that I hadn't yet read, and I really remember buying this. I remember seeing it in foils and picking it up. I'd heard nobody talking about it. I've still heard nobody talking about it, including myself, because I haven't yet read it, and that is The Tongues of Men or Angels, a novel by Jonathan Trigell, Trigell. Jonathan. I saw this, as I said, in foils, and I wanted to buy it because at that time I had just read The Book of Strange New Things by Michelle Faber, and also The Good Man Jesus and the Scoundrel Christ by Philip Pullman, and I was kind of on the lookout for other books that were dissecting religion and playing around with it in a similar way. It's got huge text inside, which I am a big fan of, not just for pacing but for ease of reading. So this is about after Jesus's crucifixion, and then what his followers do and how they spread the word about him. So I don't know, I'm really not drawn to this as much as I was when I picked this up. I thought it was going to be a little more twisted. This seems much more straightforward. Maybe it isn't. I can read the beginning of this one though, and then see if it's something that I still would like to read. In July 2015, there were 2 books that I hadn't read, one of which I've read parts of, just not the whole of it, and that is The Republic of Imagination by Azar Nafisi. I read her book Reading Alita in Tehran, which was about a book club that she set up in Tehran. This one is called A Case for Fiction, and it's about the brilliance of books and how important they are. The other one from that month that I hadn't read was Patrick Gale's novel A Place Called Winter. I've actually never read a Patrick Gale book. I would love to know if you have read this or any of these, or which one of his happened to be your favourite. This one says Harry Kane has followed tradition at every step until an illicit affair forces him to abandon the golden suburbs of Edwardian England and travel to the town of Winter in the newly colonised Canadian prairies. There, isolated in a beautiful but harsh landscape, Harry embarks on an extraordinary journey, not only of physical hardship, but also of acute self-discovery. 5 more to go. In August, there were 3 books out of 14 that I haven't yet read. One of them is one that I remember I had to buy from Australia because it wasn't available over here. This is by Allyse and it's called Fairytales for Wild Girls, and I'm getting the Fairyland series by Catherine M. Valente vibes, but for an older audience. This says, there is a dead girl in a bird cage in the woods. That's not unusual. Isola Wilde sees things a lot of other people don't, but when the girl appears at Isola's window, every other word is a threat and she needs help. Her real-life friends make her forget for a while, and her brother princes, magical creatures seemingly lifted from the pages of French fairy tales she idolises, will protect her with all of the fierce love they possess. It may not be enough. Isola needs to uncover the truth behind the dead girl's demise before the ghost steals Isola's last breath. I mean, that sounds pretty amazing. Why has it been sitting on my shelf for 6 years? Speaking of fairy tales, I haven't read this translation of Ludmilla Petrushevskaya's 3 novellas. There once lived a mother who loved her children until they moved back in. I really love all her titles because they're very long and ridiculous. This is translated from the Russian by Anna Summers. It says, in these 3 darkly imagined novellas of family life, both cruelty and love dominate relationships between husband and wife, mother and child. Here, an aging poet exploited by her own children struggles for survival. A young nurse fears murder at the hands of her brutal husband. A devoted mother commits a terrible crime against her son in order to save him. There was another translated book that month that I haven't yet got to, which is by Juan Tomás Avila Laurel. It's translated from the Spanish by Jethro Sutar. It's called By Night, the Mountain Burns. And this recounts the narrator's childhood growing up on an island off the coast of West Africa, living with his mysterious grandfather, several mothers and no fathers. And it's all steeped in superstition. Lots of terrible things have happened to the island. Who has survived and why? The final month, September 2015, there were 2 books that I hadn't yet read, one of which was a short story collection, which I primarily bought because the cover was designed by Leo Nichols, who did the design for my book, The Bookshop Book, which came out a bit before I had bought this book, and I had been coveting all of his covers because he is extraordinary. This is Heather O'Neill's short story collection, Daydreams of Angels, Tall Tales and Twisted Fairy Stories, which obviously sounds right up my street. A cherub breaks all the rules when he spends one night with a girl on Earth. Snow White and Red Rose form a unique way to survive the Paris occupation, and a soldier is brought back to life by a toy maker, but he is not grateful. And the last book is one that I bought because I was talking about the Book of Strange New Things by Michelle Faber a lot, and quite a few people said that sounds like The Sparrow by Mary Dora Russell, which is also about traveling to another planet to preach the word of God. So I bought this one but wanted to wait a while because I didn't want to read it too closely to Michelle's book. But it's been 6 years, so I think we've probably got enough distance now. I just realised I made a tiny error. In March 2015, I said I hadn't read 4 out of 12 books, but it's actually 3. I'd written No One Is Here Except All of Us on 2 lines and counted that as 2 books. It's just a long title, it's not 2 books. So it's actually 20 books out of 196 that I haven't read. I'm discounting 2 of those, the Ovid and the Ovid retellings, because I've read parts of them, and I couldn't find Jamaica Inn and Goodbye to Berlin. So there are 16 books here that I still have to read that I bought 6 years ago. And that's not terrible. That's actually quite good. And it's refreshing to see that rereading all of the blurbs here, I'm still very excited for most of them. I would say I'm not particularly excited about this one, The Tongues of Angels, Tongues of Men or Angels. Not hugely excited about the Patrick Gale. I don't know why. Maybe I will end up loving his books. It's just something about whenever I've picked up one of his books to read, I've always passed over it to read something else, and that is something that is very psychological as well. I think Murakami even wrote a whole article about it. Every time you pass over a book in favor of something else, it subconsciously becomes less appealing to you because you haven't chosen it that one time. Even if you're really excited about it still, even if you think it sounds really interesting, every time you choose not to read it, actively choose not to read it, your brain thinks, oh, well, maybe we don't like that as much as we think we might. It's ridiculous. Mind games. Okay, so maybe I will love the Patrick Gale. Maybe I will also enjoy this one. The Kazuo Ishiguro, I'm uncertain of just because of other people's opinions. But for the majority of these books, I'm still really excited about them, which is great because, as I said, I bought them 6 years ago. When I buy books, I do obviously hope to get to them relatively soon, but I am also building a collection of books that I want to read over an extended period of time, a library of books. So I don't mind books staying on my shelf for quite a long time. I will do some reading vlogs where I'm reading these books and talking to you about them. That will be in the next few months, I think, and I'll slot that in with other work reading that I have to do. In the meantime, I would love to know which of these books you have read, if you have loved them, if you haven't loved them, which ones you think I will really love as well. I will list them in the description box down below. Thanks again to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Go and check out the link at the description box down below. It's right at the top. The first 1,000 of you to click on that link can get a free trial of Skillshare Premium. I hope you're having a good start to the week, and I will speak to you all very soon. Thank you again for 60,000 subscribers. It's lovely to have you here. Lots of love. Bye.